Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long, your host, here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We are in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios, and we have a wonderful show lined up for you. America is turning 250 years old.
Woo.
And I want to do a series of shows on this. It's a pretty big deal. It may not be a big deal in like Europe and other countries that are very, very old, but it's a big deal here. And so we have these celebrations planned all around the country throughout the year, especially like culminating around July 4th, which is usually credited as our nation's birthday, if so to speak. So all around places like Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Williamsburg, and different places like that. They have all kinds of different celebrations planned. Huge fireworks displays are going to be on this year. But we want to kind of settle out like the essential places. If you plan to either drive around on a road trip and you want to know, what the basics are, the essentials are to America, we have that.
To America becoming America?
Yeah. In this show, it's about America becoming America. I think in future shows, we'll kind of do some other things.
Okay.
About the things that are very much American, hopefully. And it's such a unique country. It is. And I know I'm a little biased, born and raised, here, and everything. But like, it is such a unique country in the sense of the foundation and how we came to be, and the sometimes really highs and sometimes really lows of our country and everything. And so while this is not going to be, I know I can already see and feel the history
lesson is coming,
glazing over there. just, oh my God.
Well, if anyone listens to this show, they know that you love history, and we do travel a lot of places that have a historical connection to something we're interested in, or we want to find the history of that location.
Absolutely. So
this show is right up your alley because it's history and it's travel. You've been to most of these places you want to talk about today. And, I think it's your version of if you want to find out how America was born, this is it.
And the essential places you should visit to kind of get that whole complete story. Although I promise right up front, I will not go into history overload. I know every time I say that.
You heard him.
I do,
you heard him.
I will try. Okay. So like there are a bunch of places that you could make the start to this journey, right? To check out our country. This is going to be heavily East Coast based because look at a book. I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's kind of started on the East Coast, right? A bunch of colonies that became states and all of that stuff, right? We're going to start our journey in Philadelphia. Why not? It's good as any other place, right? The first stop I think people should absolutely make, and you may disagree with me here, Amy, but I think they should stop at Independence Hall.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think Philadelphia is a great place to start this because this is kind of what started it all, right? This is the place where everybody was when they were like, you know what? We want to be our own country. This is it.
I mean, if you want to look at it in basic terms, this is kind of where we started becoming a country on paper. Basically the birth certificate and to a lesser extent, the terms of service were kind of born here in Philadelphia. And in Independence Hall, which, number one, it's surprisingly small. I know it's a big deal for us. It's an assembly room, but it's an assembly room from like the 1700s. It's very small.
People were much tinier then.
And also it's just a little room where really important men just kind of argued about things day in and day out. And that's kind of what it is.
Not much has changed in 250 years.
No. So if you want to, especially if you're American and you're complaining about laws and whether you're for or against or people for or against, as far as like, Republicans, Democrats, all that stuff, then spiritually you're kind of in this room still. This is where the guys like Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin and the big guys of the day, they actually stood in this room and decided, the outlines anyway of what our country was going to be and how it was going to stand and things like that. So I recommend in Philadelphia at Independence Hall, you begin your journey. And I mean, it's on Chestnut Street. And the good thing about it is the next stop is right across the street, and that's the Liberty Bell.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So you can literally see Independence Hall. You can get a tour of it and go and see, I believe the tours of the Liberty Bell Center you can do them back to back and be done in just a little bit and get a whole.
I feel like you understand the story now, right? Because you went to Liberty Hall, you saw the bell, you saw the white tigers. You're good, huh?
No one except me and you understands that reference. But yes, you can do it. Plan on a guided tour. It's well worth it. You'll get all the kind of little information, especially if you do love history or it's kind of one of those things like, oh, I never knew this about it. Those kind of guides, on those guided tours are going to have that for you. Right across the street, like I said, from Chestnut Street is Liberty Bell. That's the historic bell kind of associated with early American independence. And it's more symbolism than anything else. Yes, it's the one that's cracked. It's a bell. It's been there. There is a barrier so people can't reach out and touch it. Those kind of things. But it is one of those important symbols. It appears in so many works, patriotism, or just like having to do with America. Usually you'll see some symbol with the cracked Liberty Bell.
Yeah. I think the fact that it's cracked kind of shows how difficult our journey into becoming a country has been.
Yeah.
It's a symbol in a lot of ways.
Americans, really weirdly, I mean, we're all kind of obsessed with symbols, I think.
Yeah.
We have symbols of so much. We have like the Statue of Liberty and the Liberty Bell and, so many other things that just have the bald eagle.
Yeah.
Which is.
Well, and we hear from people that our country has a fascination with our flag that other countries don't have.
Exactly.
So we hang our flags in front of our houses, and people don't do this in other countries.
In other countries, I always look for, like one time, I forgot what country we were in. I was looking around going, what does their flag look like?
Right.
Because it wasn't on any building or anything, which is so foreign to people in the United States, because we have it on our schools. Most businesses will have a flag somewhere, especially car dealerships. They love giant flags for some reason. Like you said, in front of our homes, especially around certain holidays, July 4th, Memorial Days, things like that. You often see them flying outside of people's homes. So symbolism is really, really kind of big here. And I just kind of really thought about that. But I mean, looking at the Liberty Bell, a cracked bell behind glass, is that not America in one image?
A cracked bell.
Just, love our country, but it is kind of, well, I guess symbolic is the right word. But excuse me, in Philadelphia, this probably is a 5-minute walk, maybe, to the third stop that I absolutely recommend in Philadelphia. It's the National Constitution Center.
And I think this is your favorite stop of the three.
I would get lost here. I would get lost for hours.
You would.
It's on Arch Street in Philadelphia, which, like I said, it's just a couple minutes walk from the Liberty Bell and Independence Hall. But this is where you're going to get, all the kind of information about focus. It's like a museum focused on the U.S. Constitution and how it kind of shaped our country back when it was founded and still continues to shape our country. And people often describe, especially for those listening outside of our country, what's the big deal with our Constitution? And it's supposed to be this living document that changes. And we have the freedom to change without going into complete anarchy, which some would say to that if you watch local news. So starting out in Philadelphia, giving you some places. And now when we come back, I want to turn our attention to Boston, where people stop talking about it and they start being about it, right? Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-patriot,
Hello.
Amy. Yes, there she is. Check us out online, unscaledtravelshow.com. All of our past episodes and interviews. We are now in season 4 of our show. Really excited about that. We've won awards. We always put our episodes like on, podcasting platforms out there, Apple, Spotify. We've gained subscribers. We've lost subscribers. We've gotten a couple of angry emails or two, but also we've been encouraged by a lot of you, and especially as more and more listeners, we pick up more and more listeners. We're so encouraged. We just want to say very quickly, thank you so much for joining us. And we're talking about America turning to 250 years old, just like a teenager. And as far as countries are concerned.
Yeah.
Where you have like France and UK and places like that have been countries for.
Or like when we went to Japan, I mean, things dated back to like
centuries.
800.
Like Jesus Christo times, man, like way. But you know what? We're proud of our little 250. So, we're trying to outline, at least stoke your interest in going to visit some of the essential places that make America, or the United States, I should say. And we'll continue on with this series of shows for a while, just because this only comes around once. It's a big deal in our lifetime anyway. It only comes around once. So we talked about Philadelphia, a couple of the places, Independence Hall, Liberty Bell Place, and things like that. And now I want to focus our attention on Boston.
Right.
Boston was very important, not only as a port, but also staging grounds and revolutionary talk. And there's a whole thing. If you Google it, if you're outside of the United States, there's a whole tea party they had. It sounds nice.
It was not.
People were kind of upset about things. So what should you go see in Boston? Boston's one of those places, when it's connected to the American Revolution, you could kind of throw a stone and end up in a historic place, end up in a historic tavern where they plotted and planned, end up in a historic building where they executed things, all kinds of stuff. But I recommend the Freedom Trail.
Yes.
The Freedom Trail is a marked walking trail, through Boston that connects major Revolutionary era sites. And to me, it's like the best possible tool for first timers, because it kind of organizes the chaos into something that's pretty cohesive. On that route, you'll see things like, the North Church, which was very important. And you'll see statues to guys like Paul Revere, who also, played these huge roles in Revolution, the Declaration and all of these things. When you walk it now, obviously you can walk it by yourself and just kind of do a self-guided tour. They do have guided tours, which I hear are amazing.
Yeah, we didn't do that. There were several bus companies that take you from place to place around the Freedom Trail and a few other highlighted spots in the city. So we did one of those, so we didn't have to actually walk the entire thing, because it can be quite a bit of walking, and we were there on a very chilly, rainy day. Yeah. But the city very much wants to show off their history and this architecture and all these places from this pivotal moment in our country. So they really have a lot of, I would say, knowledgeable people, because even our bus driver, I wouldn't say he was like a tour guide, but he was giving us little bits of information here and there as we were going on different buses. So, I think it's one of those things you can do it yourself, but it's always better to have somebody give you information that you're probably not going to just readily see on a map or something.
And they do, in different places, they do have those things like the little maps that kind of point out. And the Freedom Trail is easy to kind of follow along, because they do have it bricked out, the pathway, and little markers, so where you're going, and it's kind of hard to get lost. And the good thing is, like, Boston in that area is kind of compact, so it's really easy to walk if you choose to, like, you want to do that, and it'll take you by all kinds of interesting places. And now some of them are like really funny. You'll see like a really important, like, I think it's like Paul Revere's house.
Yeah.
And like right beside it is a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Or one space was like where Ben Franklin hung out. And then below it is is another Dunkin' Donuts. They really love Dunkin' Donuts over there. But Boston was kind of that hotbed of protest against the British policies and taxes, and where tensions kind of escalated through public protests, violence, and even crackdowns. So there's a lot of things kind of happening in a short amount of time that really, with the stuff that's going on, that parallels the stuff that's going on in Philadelphia, where our leaders of the time are doing the arguing and kind of doing the framework of Constitution. Well, someone's doing the talking and the walking and I don't know what they're throwing. I guess tomatoes.
They were throwing tea.
And throwing tea in harbors. And, if you want to, given the time period, given what's going on these days, Boston is kind of like the original protest city. Right. If you think about it.
Yeah.
In the U.S., I'm not trying to get political. Look at me, my brave political commentary on my little podcast here. But it is that original kind of thing. So, and we spent so much time, and I mean, we ended up going to the USS Constitution ship, which is, again, it's a ship that's a decommissioned warship from the Revolutionary Age, but it's another one of those symbols that we're still so proud of that you can actually ride on that thing. They take it out into the harbor.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Because the day we were there, it was stationary.
I think you have to be invited on.
Oh.
They do it like once or twice a year, and it's like by invite only.
Yeah, I remember you saying they do some event on the ship that's invite only. But it was.
I got to get important enough.
Exactly.
I am not important
we
enough.
We need more listeners.
If you want to move outside of Boston, there are a number of locations, again, revolutionary times, right? Lexington and Concord, though, those are the spots, little towns. These little towns, we stayed in Concord. We stayed at the Continental Inn, 1776 Continental Inn, right? They look like little Hallmark towns.
It doesn't look like
this is
America
where a war
now
would start.
Right? Or where a war would start. I mean, it was just such a cute little place, and we walk a few blocks over and end up in a field, and you're like, this is a very significant field. Yeah.
These towns matter because they're tied to the opening military conflict of the Revolution. And these little areas that you would look at and go, oh, they probably film Hallmark movies here. Where's Lacey Chabert? She's probably somewhere. British troops moving through the area, seizing supplies, arresting key leaders. And you mentioned the bridge, right? So the North Bridge in Concord, we actually walked to. Concord is a very walkable small town. But that's kind of like where the first battle was.
Yeah.
And they have, not huge, but they have monuments there.
Did you have a statue? Yeah.
Yeah. Statues and monuments there kind of pointing out and directing you around, trying to give you an idea, painting a picture of what it looked like. But there's all kinds of areas around Boston besides those, but those are the ones that'll probably get you started once you're looking around on your revolutionary journey, right? Keep it right here. It's Unscaled Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back. Podcast.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy along here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're in Sin City, Las Vegas in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. We're talking about the essential places you should see as America turns 250 years old and talking about Boston. And I mentioned Diamondback Land Surveying and their owners, Trent, Lisa Keenan. Boston probably is one of Trent's favorite places.
Really?
Like he's a Renaissance man. He does so many different things. Not only does he have one of the best land surveying companies in the United States, and that's not just me just talking about it because he's a sponsor of our show, even though he is a sponsor of our show and we love him so much. But it is one of the premier land surveying businesses. But he every time he goes to Boston, he experiments with like different photography So he goes out either real late at night or super early in the morning because he's kind of that way. But he'll go out when the streets are completely empty and do like slow light, like photography and just get the light trails and everything else, like leading up to the North Church or the, down the Freedom Trails and things. And it's one of his favorite cities, and he talks about it. And he posts about it all the time.
Well, it reminds me of a photo you took in Boston that you were like, oh, this is such an amazing photo. And I like stood there and I waited for you to like line up the shot.
I know what you're talking about.
And then what happened? Tell me what happened.
So right next to the North Church is a statue, a beautiful statue of Paul Revere. And it was a gorgeous day when we went. I mean, not sunshine, but in the moment when we were walking this part of the trail, there was sunshine. But the leaves were changing colors and like people were out everywhere. And I was stepping into this shot and there were people, I think they were doing like a proposal or something. Like that. They were taking like wedding photos near there. Somebody was. And so I just wanted to snap this photo of Paul Revere with the North Church steeple, the white steeple in the background. And it was all lined up. And man, I was like, this is a great shot.
I think you have to explain it's Paul Revere on a horse.
Oh.
He's not just standing there. He's on a horse.
Yes, Paul Revere on a horse. I thought I lined it up perfectly. And it wasn't until after we got back to Vegas a few days later that I realized that I completely missed the mark. And I gave Paul Revere a horse head. Like I didn't get Paul Revere's head at all. It's just like his horse's head and his body. And it still looks like a beautiful photo.
It is a beautiful photo if you ignore the fact that the man doesn't have a head.
He's got a head. It's just the head of a horse. So anyway, do better than me. But it's a whole area. And even like there's cemeteries that are along this route and things like that have some of our early patriots and like families like that go back all the way to the founding of different places, and such as like the Mayflower and coming to Plymouth and all of that, which we're going to get to. We're going to talk about Plymouth Rock here in just a second.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what's the nice way to say this? My issues with Plymouth Rock.
You're underwhelmed.
But anyway, look at Boston, Lexington, Concord, that whole area, and Concord, by the way.
Concord.
They let us know real quick.
They let us know it's not Concord. It's
no,
Concord.
I went in there saying Concord, and I thought the lady at the hotel was going to smack me, bro. She was like, Concord. And I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, look at it as a starter pack for really understanding how the revolution here, unfolded and all the things, because there were so many moving pieces and people want to simplify it down to one thing or another.
You mentioned the North Bridge. We said there's a monument there, but for people who don't know, explain what exactly happened at the North Bridge in that field that makes it so significant in like 3 minutes.
It's one of the first places where the colonial militia, that's the American, I guess, Revolutionary Patriots at that point, kind of pushed back against British. What they looked at and what they saw was British overreach. The British were going in. They could smell stuff was brewing. Okay. They knew people weren't happy with taxes and taxation without representation and all that stuff. And they were going in and they were like, hey, we got word that people are storing guns and ammunition and powder and, things like that in these different places. We're going to go along and we're going to seize them. So you guys can't get any ideas and thoughts or whatever. And the Patriots finally organized their militia, and they were like, no. We kind of drew a line in the sand. And that's what that was all about. Like, not a whole bunch of people died. It wasn't this big war like people might imagine first off in their minds, but it was the first time people that were on the United States side, the American side at that time, stood up and said, nah, we're not going to let you do it. So it was a very big deal. Even though if you went to this place, you could lay down a blanket and have a picnic, and bro, it would be a beautiful setting.
Lovely field.
There's a little stream.
In a bridge, as we said.
Anyway, if you go south of Boston, okay, it kind of predates the revolution time to actual, like, when people were first coming over here and it was like a brand new journey thing. People leaving Plymouth, England, coming to the new land, the new colonies at the time, trying to establish themselves. They land in myth, right? We're all about symbols here. They land at a place called what they would call Plymouth Rock. We're taught this from an early age in the United States. If you grow up in our school systems, our poor school systems, if you're taught here, you learn about Plymouth Rock, and they never really show you Plymouth Rock. Or they might show you Plymouth Rock, but they're going to show you close-up photos. It skews your understanding of what Plymouth Rock is.
Very much so. Very much.
Because it's the Pilgrims, right? It's the Pilgrims. It's the Thanksgiving. It's, that we do here in the United States. It's their landing story and myth and reality. And basically it's this little rock. It is a rock.
Yeah. We went to see Plymouth Rock not too long ago, and I was expecting it to be a boulder, I will say. It's not. It's like a stepping stone with the date carved into it. Yeah. And it's behind a little fence, and you're looking down at it, and it was underwhelming.
So you expect this grand, dramatic landmark, and you get this rock that sometimes is sitting in the water, sometimes not. It's in a little viewing area.
Yeah. And
everyone, we stood around for a few minutes, and you could hear people walk up and go, "This is it?" Unskilled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Jeremy Long here with my patriot in crime. I don't know. Amy?
Hello.
We're in Las Vegas in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. The essential places you should visit as America turns 250 years young. We've mentioned Philadelphia and Boston and poor little Plymouth. Now,
but you know what? Plymouth, the town, it was actually adorable. Yeah. I loved it. I would totally go back there and just...
I agree.
Hang out in the town and walk the little downtown area and shop. It was fun. They had a replica Mayflower.
I forgot about that.
That we went and took a tour of and got to see it. And it really puts into perspective what these people went through to come over, because you can actually see how small the boat really was and where all the people lived during this journey. And, in your mind, you're thinking it's this massive ship, and it's really not. So it's just incredible that so many people did survive the journey, I would say.
No joke, man. And it wasn't just men. I mean, with women, young couples, young children, people who were pregnant, and as soon as they got to land, they were given birth, and so and it wasn't just a handful of people either. It was 60 something people, I believe. I might be a little off on there, but it was way more than you would think would fit on this boat. And they do have the replica of the Mayflower, right beside Plymouth Rock. You can go and do a little tour of or whatever, but it's kind of, when you're on there looking at it, you're like, there's no way there's many people.
Yeah, exactly.
Something's not adding up. But no, sure enough, they did it.
Well, and the other thing we learned was where Plymouth Rock sits now isn't actually the rock that it's, and we were taught, as you said, that's where they docked and came ashore, but it was actually a rock that was kind of just out in the water.
I've heard
they first made contact with. I'm still a little fuzzy on,
and people have different, because I had a post on TikTok. It kind of it went a little mini viral, and then say it doesn't have 1 million views yet, but it has 600,000 to date or something. And it was kind of making fun of, if you follow SpongeBob, he has a moment where he's they're talking about the difference between rocks and boulders or something like that. And it's just a stupid little video, but it kind of took off for a minute there. But people from, not only from the United States talking about Plymouth Rock, but people from Plymouth, England, it ended up in their feed. And so they were talking about the differences in the actual city of Plymouth in England. and how it is compared to like what we have over here and everything. And so you had people going back and forth, but people are putting in different things saying like, that's not even the original rock.
Oh.
And that they had several of them because there's a piece or at least a chunk of it or something like that sits in the Smithsonian museums. They fenced it off. They have a sign out there that says we've kind of fenced it off because people started taking a pickaxe to it.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to take home pieces of Plymouth Rock or whatever. But I hear people are like, well, that's not even the real one. Sometimes it's in the water. Sometimes it's on land. Sometimes they move it around. Like it's kind of whatever, but it's more of a symbol than anything.
That's what I was going to say.
And it is whatever we need it to be. Like Batman. It is whatever we need it to be.
Okay.
Plymouth Rock. Swear to me, Plymouth. Anyway. So Plymouth Rock is just a little rock. So just use your imagination and think it's a big grand thing. Because if you make the drive out there, you're going to be a little disappointed.
I recommend going to Plymouth. I just wouldn't build your entire trip around seeing the rock.
Because that's like that's maybe a 10-minute stop. And 9 of it's going to be like, this is it. But you feel like you have to stay there because you're like, I drove all this way.
Well, and there's like a security guy standing there watching you and you don't want to seem disrespectful of the rock.
Just don't spit on it, like anything like that. But if you want like a more detailed story, like with the actual history, a short drive away is the Plymouth Pawtuxet Museums. And it kind of goes into the history of the area and Plymouth Rock and all of that. So if you like museums, go there. A different place in New York, kind of switching gears, that I think is essential if you're trying to figure out like the founding of America and its beginnings and what makes it so great, is a trip to Ellis Island in New York, in New York's harbor. This is the primary immigration processing station for millions of immigrants that arrived in the U.S. between the late 1800s and like the mid 1900s. And you actually went there years ago.
I did.
On a trip.
I did. So I was in New York for a group trip, and we had a tour guide who took us to a lot of places. And this particular day, we went to the Statue of Liberty, and then we went over to Ellis Island. And at the time, I didn't really know what Ellis Island was, other than it was just another stop on this trip. But it's actually fascinating. It's a museum now, but like you said, this was where all the immigrants, so the boats that would come over with the people, they would get off at Ellis Island, and this is where they were documented. They were examined, and then this is where you told your name. People, I think, talk about, they would come to America to reinvent themselves. They didn't really have papers. They didn't have passports then. So they're going to Ellis Island. They're getting examined by somebody. They're putting their name down in paper. And this is when they were becoming Americans, I guess. But now it's a museum, and it shows it shows a lot of photos from that time. There's still records. You can go through the records and like look for your ancestors there. It's just such a really neat thing to see, I guess.
Yeah.
And if you had ancestors that came through there, I think it might be a bit emotional for people
to see where it all kind of came together for your family.
Yeah.
Because I guess you would look back and go like, wow, if Giuseppe didn't come here and do this, and you're absolutely right. I mean, not only were people being examined for like, whatever, but they were being questioned, approved, rejected. People's entire names, last names, were kind of changed and lost. And it would take generations later until people were, found again because name misspellings and different things were happening of that level. So I hear that a lot. I haven't been to Ellis Island, but I hear that a lot, that
you would love it,
that people you'll often see people emotional there, crying. They see their family member's name or something like that. And so that's an excellent point. What a great place to kind of bring it all together from revolutionary times to more modern times and see where the dream kind of took off for people. Keep it right here on Scale Travel Show.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
In beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios, giving you the essential places to visit as America turns 250 years old, all along the East Coast. There's so many places. I mean, you couldn't possibly fit them into one show. Throughout the new season that we're in here, season 4, we'll try to give as many episodes as we can, kind of celebrating the fact that our nation is turning 250, a big milestone for us. And now we kind of shift our focus from New York, Boston, which there are so many places, so many around just those areas alone, to kind of shift our focus to Washington, D.C., which is kind of the heart of our nation, the capital of the United States.
Right.
And it is one of those places that you throw a stone, you're hitting something historic. Mm-hmm. Museums, as far as the eye can see, monuments around every corner. Everything is historical in some aspect.
It really is. I mean, like you said, it's one of those cities that you can't see everything in a weekend. Mm-hmm. You really need an extended amount of time to explore it all. But if you only had a couple of days, we will give you some highlights of what you should see while you're there. Some of those pivotal places in our country's history, more of those symbols.
Yeah, I would argue that with, Boston, New York, Philly, any of those kind of places. Later, in just a few minutes, we'll talk about Williamsburg and those kind of areas that I did do a weekend there, and I still need more time. I need some follow-up visits because if you love history, number one, you can just get lost
lose
there.
Yourself, yes.
Lose yourself, and then all of a sudden you're an 80-year-old man, or you either...
or suddenly you're part of a Civil War discussion. Discussion group.
Yes.
And you don't even know how it happened.
Like I'm getting ready to join here in Las Vegas. They don't know I'm coming, but February I'm coming. So like you either get lost in that, or it is just kind of a great way to get the gist of it if you're new to the country or whatever. So like the first place in DC, when did DC actually become the capital of our nation?
I don't know for certain, but I think it was 1800.
Oh my gosh, look at you. Yes, officially in 1800, it became the capital of the United States. For a short time before that, I think from 1790 on, I think it was Philadelphia.
I feel like that's right. Yeah.
I feel like, sure, that sounds smart.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Anyway, so...
People are probably yelling at their radios right now.
Yeah, I know. The first place I would say is the National Mall. The National Mall is not a mall. Okay, it's not a thing with stores and things
it's
like
funny,
that.
I was going to say that same thing.
But the National Mall is actually a park. And this is, it's like the long stretch of monuments, memorials, museums that kind of function as like maybe the symbolic heart of our country. This is where you're going to see the Washington Monument, the MLK Monument, the Lincoln Monument, all of these things that you probably recognize. If you've never been to DC, you probably recognize from movies.
I was going to say, if you're a Marvel fan, isn't this where Captain America was running?
Yeah. All of those places on your left. Yes. Absolutely. So, even if you hate politics, the mall, as they call it, is like the clearest physical expression of how America sees itself in a way. I would say it's grand. It's idealistic. Sometimes it might be a little self-congratulatory, occasionally moving, but it's all about symbols. And again, we're going back to the part where Americans really love our symbols. And
True.
If a little rock sitting in a...
You're really upset about this rock.
If a little rock can be a symbol, an inspiring symbol to a nation, then yes, I say the grand idea of the Washington monuments and things like that can also be.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay, I'm off. But in this whole area, right, you're also going to have the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian National Museums, and it's like a collection of museums. It's a
complex, yeah. It's over 20, I think it's 21 museums.
It houses, everything. A little bit of everything from around the world, especially here in the nation, in our nation and everything. So the Smithsonian's right there beside the National Mall, which is also right beside the things like Library of Congress and one of the stops, the United States Capitol and the United States Capitol building, which regardless of your politics, and I know this is the famous last word for a lot of people talking about politics, but regardless of your politics, if you want to see just a gorgeous building, if you love architecture, the U.S. Capitol building is one of my favorite buildings. It is
really
gorgeous.
I didn't know that.
And the fact that, that this is where our laws are debated and passed sometimes. And even if you don't follow politics, this is the center of how decisions get made here. And this is where, everything kind of comes together as far as our government and everything else is really, some would say the White House because, that's where the president sits and all that stuff. But no, the Capitol building, I believe, serves that much more of a pivotal role in what we do day to day.
But I think if we're going to talk about, the birth of America, people have to go to the National Archives because we kind of talked about Philadelphia and, the things that happened there in that tiny room. But those documents and the follow-up documents live in the National Archives. So that's where you would see the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Charters of Freedom, all these things that legally made us a country. And these are our rules we live by. All of this is displayed in the National Archives. And it too is a gorgeous piece of architecture. Yeah.
What's the little room that the Constitution, all that sits in?
The Rotunda.
The Rotunda. What's so special about it? I mean,
if you've seen National Treasure,
in another life, you do you work with events and things like that. So
you can actually do events
in the Rotunda.
Well, there's different rooms you can do it in. I'm not sure if they let you do it in the actual room where the Declaration lives.
Can you throw a party where the Declaration? Where the Constitution of the United States is?
Possibly.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, like have a birthday party?
I don't know if they'll let you have a birthday. I mean, obviously it has to be approved by their board. But they do allow private parties, private functions in the National Archives.
Yeah, go back and watch the go back and watch the legendary motion picture with Nicolas Cage, who is an icon. National Treasure, and just repeat it. Sometimes I'll be like washing dishes and stuff, and I'll be like, I think it was before Christmas time. Our daughter was talking to me, and like we had a moment, and I looked at her and I was like, "We're gonna steal the Declaration of Independence." And she instantly knew what I was talking about because I'm a nerd. But like they have different exhibitions and things that come through the National Archives as well. So you have our charters of freedom for our country, but like at different points you can see on loan from different countries. Like right now is the Magna Carta, which is very important in the UK and to the English world, on that side of the little river between us or whatever. So like you see all of these things. So you have these featured exhibits that come through. So it's at any given time, you can see different things in the National Archives.
And the best part, it's free. It's free to go into.
Yeah. A lot of these things are free actually to kind of check out and everything because they don't want to separate citizens from their
funding.
Yeah. Well, from their founding papers and all of that. And also the Capitol building, as well as the White House, regardless of who is in office, you can take tours of these things. You have to do it many months in advance. You got to book it early.
Right.
But you can go and see it, and it's amazing. Check it out, right? It's essential. Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
For all of our past episodes, interviews, everything like that, check us out, unscaled.travelshow.com. Check us out on YouTube at Unskilled Travel Show. Get some different, interesting stories. Ones you might not expect. Right there on YouTube. And we're trying to get better about like social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying. And, I do what I can. So we're talking about America turning 250 years old, the essential places you should visit. A lot of them on the East Coast, most of them on the East Coast, especially in this episode. But looking at DC, you were just talking about the Rotunda, and we were talking about events. Like, I want to throw a birthday party in there.
Yeah.
What's the actual?
So you can't, I'm looking at their website right now. They have several different spaces in the National Archives Museum that you can rent for private parties. Including the Rotunda Galleries, which are, it doesn't say it's the same room the Declaration is in. It says it's steps away from the Declaration, but your guests could have private viewing of all the different exhibits.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well.
So, I mean, if we happen to be in DC for your birthday, maybe I'll throw you a little party.
Throw a little party, just me and you, just in this room.
In this giant rotunda.
We'll invite all the Unscaled Travel Show listeners. Come to my birthday party in the National Archives. Come to DC. Get a private viewing of, come on, how cool
Of the
is that?
Declaration.
The Declaration? Yeah. Get out of here. That's cool. Yeah. Looking at things like the Capitol building and the White House, I mentioned kind of briefly, and I want to go back and reiterate, you can take tours. These tours often book up, weeks, months in advance. But like the tours of the White House are free.
I didn't know that.
So they don't cost any money. You just have to go through your representative. Basically, it's like you go through your representative's office. The office books you for the tour, basically. So it's kind of like going through the system of government.
So there's not like a Ticketmaster to get into the White House.
You're not going to Ticketmaster. It's free.
You have to call your congressman.
It's free, but with Ticketmaster, there's $900 in fees. So you're paying $900 in fees with Ticketmaster.
You're not wrong there.
Not wrong. So definitely do that. I think at least once. People, again, I can just hear them firing up their keyboards right now talking about politics. Dude, it's not about that. It's like going to see the heart of the government, no matter who's in office or whatever. It's more, again, the symbolism. Like, I want to go see the Capitol building. I want to see the White House. I want to see these things.
It's not about what side you're on. It's about what it all together represents.
Yeah, well, first, I mean, you could do that. You can call me about all that, but let me take a sleeping pill first. And then you can argue with the wall.
I want to see it because I used to love that show West Wing. And it's said that the set was such a close replica that they actually had to kind of change things because they didn't want people to watch the show and be able to fully understand the layout of the White House.
I watched that show with you and I don't understand. I was like, how are they always 10 minutes and 2 minutes away from everything in the White House? I didn't understand anything. But speaking of replicas, I saved my favorite for last here. And it kind of, we've talked about revolutionary times and kind of jumped to modern times. And now we're going back a little bit to kind of the founding of the first settlements. When I look at colonial Williamsburg in Virginia and Jamestown and Yorktown, they call it the historic triangle because all of these towns are right next to each other. Jamestown was one of the first settlements here in the United States, as far as English settlements, I'm sorry. And it was, I think, 1609. So it goes back a little ways, right? Colonial Williamsburg, this is where they have the live actors that dress up like it's the 1800s, 1700s, 1800s. And they have a lot of the homes that are founding fathers, including like George Wythe. His family spent time in Williamsburg. I guess it was just called Williamsburg then, not Colonial Williamsburg, but Williamsburg. his house is still standing. He signed, our declaration. You know, he was one of the original signers.
He's not a name you hear a lot, but he was very important.
He was very important, and he was murdered. So
check out our YouTube to find out more about that.
For that particular story, go to our YouTube at Unscaled Travel Show, and you will find the mystery of one of our founding fathers. But also Yorktown. Yorktown, people may not know, but this was the last major battle between American colonial forces, French forces, and the British forces for the end of it was the last major battle of the American Revolution, was the siege at Yorktown.
I didn't know that.
This is where General George Washington cornered Lord Cornwallis and made him surrender, and we did all that.
I just learned something.
Look at that. And you can go there and tour the battlegrounds and tour the museums and kind of see the moment a nation becomes a nation.
Yeah.
And no matter where you are, even if you could see the different things like in Canada or Mexico or wherever, I mean, it's still cool to see, even if you don't belong necessarily to that nation.
Yeah.
To see like where Rome was founded and those kind of things. When we're in Italy and they have all these different points that are like, Rome was founded here. Oh, no, it was founded over here. You know, like all those kind of different things. Like, I really love stuff like that. So,
You do.
And I think I'm not alone. I think a lot of people really love stuff like that.
Well, you were saying that you spent a whole weekend in the Jamestown, Yorktown, Williamsburg area.
Yeah.
And that you feel like you need to go back because there's just so much to see. But what were some of those places that you stopped at that you were like, this is an absolute must? People have to go there.
Well, Colonial Williamsburg is its own area. So it's within the city of Williamsburg. So once you stop, park, if you've driven into the area, they have shuttles, free shuttles that take you around. And by the way, in the Historic Triangle, they do have a Historic Triangle ticket. So you buy one ticket and you can get into all their museums and everything for free. I mean, not for free. It's on the admission of that ticket. Yeah. So it's really good to have, especially if you plan on being there for a few days and seeing everything that you can. But I would recommend just, if you can, like I said, do some of the tours, because you can see a lot with just walking around and with the pamphlets and little maps and stuff like that you can find in different places. And like in Colonial Williamsburg, they have the people that act out these parts or whatever, and they do it. They have some people that have been doing it for decades.
Oh, really?
And they know the history of their person. And these are actual human beings that live, that they are giving, I guess, daily performances of. So you'll see George Washington walking around.
Interesting.
And he'll have daily speeches and things like that. But talk to them, because you have to know your history when it comes to that person. They don't just let anyone in to do these things. So you could actually have a conversation with George Washington. Yes.
Really? Oh, see, I didn't know that. I just assumed it was like, oh, well, they have a blacksmith and they have a lady over there making butter and that kind of thing. But I didn't know they actually had people representing true figures.
Yeah, absolutely. Time. And even the people that are, not to trivialize it, even the people that are there making butter and doing all that, they have live blacksmiths that are working, and they'll tell you how they did it back then, what materials they used. And they are, in a lot of cases, masters of their crafts. But along that way, they even do haunted tours. Very haunted. It's an old area. So, but the Peyton Randolph House, like I said, the Governor's Palace is gorgeous. The Governor's Palace is kind of the central location where they have a huge green. So when they have a party later this year, and they are having a huge party in Williamsburg for America turning 250. I don't want to say it's around July 4th, but I believe it's somewhere around July 4th. It's going to be at the Governor's Palace. And I believe people like Alison Krauss and people like that are going to come in and do performances and probably play some really patriotic songs. Maybe Lee Greenwood. Who knows? Maybe not Lee Greenwood. But I mentioned the George Wythe House and like the Palace Greens and just kind of those different places. And right down the road is Jamestown. And Jamestown itself is like a little city now people live in. But the historic Jamestown is their settlement location and where their fortifications were and where the museums are and they are living archaeological sites. So they are still doing active digs where they're finding a lot of kind of things that were lost through time, artifacts that were lost in time, and even some really brutal stuff. Like, really, the first couple of winters there were, they allegedly kind of got into cannibalism.
Oh, goodness.
So different things, all for the kids. So bring the...
And then you go to Busch Gardens.
And then right down the street is Busch Gardens. And you can go there, and it's essential too. Go to Busch Gardens. It's a fun.
I love you. I know that I didn't go with you on this trip, but I know you had so much fun, and you talk about going back all the time. So I foresee us going back sometime this year. Well,
if my buddy Ed Harris and his team can bring me back, then let's do it. Thanks for joining us, folks. Unscaled Travel Show. America at 250. We'll do more, right? We'll see you guys next time.